always wearing jeans and a yellow hooded sweatshirt. But for the costume, he asked his mother to get him a dark suit, a tie, and a white mask. When his mother came home from shopping, Brian went to receive her excited. He checked the bags and was disappointed because the suit wasn't what he expected. "Mom, I told you it had to be black bottoms, not gold." "I'm sorry, honey, but I couldn't find it." "And the mask had to be flat with no eyes or mouth." "There was no mask like that. You can always disguise yourself as something else." Brian went straight to his room. He was angry. He wanted to disguise himself as a Slenderman, not a gentleman in a suit with a smiling face. He came up with the idea of searching YouTube for a tutorial on how to make a good mask, and he found one to make it with Lycra. Then he went to the local haberdashery store and left the order, but the order took 3 hours to finish, so his mother would have to take it to school directly to get to the parade on time. Brian showed up in his costume at school, and his classmates looked at him without really understanding the costume. But he only cared that his mother would arrive on time. Just as the principal was about to announce the winner, Brian begged him, almost crying, to wait 10 more minutes. After a while, his mother arrived with the mask, and relieved, he wore it. It didn't look the way he expected, and they started laughing at his costume. Then they announced the winner, Peter Robinson, who was a werewolf. Brian went home upset. He wanted to go as a Slenderman and worked hard to prepare his idea. Every night before going to sleep, he would read his creepypasta. He knew everything about him. He even fantasized about meeting him in person. He thought of going into the woods and introducing himself in his costume. After a few laps, he sat down on a hopeless log. He punctured his finger with a wood splinter and drawn with fresh blood a symbol which was supposed to summon Slenderman. He reworked the circle several times until something caught his attention. It was a dark, sinister sensation, as if someone was watching him among the bushes. It was a Slenderman. He was standing there, motionless. "Come on, Slenderman, come near me." Slenderman walked towards him. He pulled the thick black liquid from one of his tentacles and drew a mark on Brian's forehead. The exact same mark that Brian engraved with his blood. Then he fainted. The next day, he woke up in his room. He thought it was all a dream and went down to the kitchen for breakfast. There, his mother explained to him that he had been found unconscious in the woods with that strange mark on his forehead. Brian ran to the bathroom and looked into the mirror, and the symbol was still there, untouched. "I want you to erase that from your face." "But mother, I can't. Slenderman did it to me." "Who is he?" "Slenderman is real, and yesterday I was with him." His mother thought he was delusional and reluctantly held him to wash his face with soap and mop. But the mark didn't go. It looked like a tattoo. From the bathroom window, he was surprised to see in the garden a huge tree with a black trunk. It had never been there before, so they went outside. His mother approached the tree, and suddenly 2 black tentacles popped out. It was a Slenderman. One of them landed on Brian's body, surrounded him, and transformed him into a kind of black ski mask that completely covered his face. The other tentacle grabbed Brian's mother and left her on the ground lifeless. Brian was no longer himself. He had become Hoodie. He went with his Slenderman to Peter Robinson's house with a metal bar, and he retaliated for taking away his victory in the costume contest. It all became a fuzzy memory for Brian. Today, he doesn't really understand what happened. And what Brian doesn't know is that Hoodie lives inside him and anxiously awaits the orders of his master, Lord Slenderman, to obey again.